Morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Aruna from St. Joseph Institute of Technology from the Department of MBA. In the previous class, we discussed about demand and what's the definition of demand and the elasticity of demand and what are the factors that affect the demand. In today's class, we will be focusing on perfect competition. So before starting with the perfect competition, so let's have a clarity on what is market. I hope so, right? Everyone might have gone to a market. So in the market, what all that we see? We see buyers who buy the products, and we see the sellers who sell the product. Here, market doesn't mean that it should always be a product. Services can also be sold by a producer to a consumer. Now, market we can divide it into four. One is a perfect competition, next monopoly, monopolistic, and oligopoly. In today's class, we are just going to concentrate on only one topic, that is perfect competition. So, what's a perfect competition? Any guess? So perfect competition means there are going to be large number of buyers and sellers. Okay, and the product here, it is a homogeneous product. So what do you mean by a homogeneous product? So in a homogeneous product, always the product looks similar. Let it be in color or the size. So the price in a perfect competition, it has to be same. So what's a perfect competition? So let's go by the definition. Perfect competition refers to a market situation where there are large number of buyers and sellers. They deal with homogeneous product at a price fixed by the market. So why it is called fixed by the market? We will discuss it later. So first we'll go with the features. So first, what is this? Well, there are very large number of buyers and sellers. What does it mean? So here let's go to our regular market where we buy fruits and vegetables. So what is it we can see? We can see there are so many sellers in the market, and there are so many buyers who come to buy the product. So always for a perfect competition, the buyers are going to be more and the sellers are going to be more. But if you take a monopoly, okay, the seller is going to be one, buyers can be more. And when we go for a monopolistic competition, yes, the sellers are more, but compared to perfect competition, sellers are going to be very less. And what about the last? That's oligopoly. Sellers are very few and buyers are more. So here in a perfect competition, here we deal with a homogeneous product. Let's take apple, orange. So wherever that market you go, orange is going to appeal in orange color, and the size more or less it's going to be same. So based on the size, price definitely will change. Okay. So homogeneous product means it appears to be same. So we can't find n number of differences among the product. So that's why it's called as homogeneous product. Next, freedom of entry and exit. So what does it mean? Here no one needs to get a permission from the government to sell to the buyers. So if they have money, yes, they can act as a seller. They can buy products from the market. They can also resell to the customer. So entry and exit. So if a producer likes, yes, he can enter the market. If he doesn't like, if at all if he feel he is going to incur loss. So what is it he can do? He can very well exit from the market. Next, perfect knowledge among buyers and sellers. So what does it mean? Perfect knowledge among buyers and sellers means before going to the market, definitely the buyer will know what will be the price of the product in the market. Okay, so no one can't influence the buyer. If at all, if the seller is going to sell the tomatoes or onion at an exorbitant price, or at least some 10 to 20 rupees if it varies, what will the buyer do? Naturally, he may boycott one seller and he may go to the next seller. So a seller before selling to the buyer, he should also know that since it is a routinely bought items in the market, buyers, yes, definitely they will have a perfect knowledge about what is that they want from the product, from what are they going to buy, how much are they going to buy. So all this knowledge a buyer will have. Next, perfect mobility of factors of production. So factors of production, yes, we know there are four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and enterprise. So what does it mean here, mobility? It can be, moved from one place to another. Next, absence of transportation cost. So whenever we buy any fruits, vegetables, or flowers, okay, we don't find any transportation cost added to it. On the other hand, if you just take a refrigerator, a washing machine, AC, yes, definitely when you buy from a market, if at all if you need to carry to your workplace or your home, definitely they will add one transportation cost. But in perfect competition, there is no transportation cost. Next, absence of selling cost. So usually we don't find any advertisement to buy from a particular seller, right? On the other hand, you could see more number of advertisement cost for monopolistic competition, but whereas in perfect competition, there is not going to be much advertisement cost. By reason is, yes, almost all the products are going to appear the same, right? Because they are all homogeneous product. So these are the features of perfect competition. So there are a very large number of buyers and sellers, right? Even if one buyer is not going to buy a particular product, right, the sellers are not going to lose. Why? They have so much of buyer. And even if the sellers, in one single day or for 1 month, if few sellers are not ready to sell the product also, buyers are not going to get affected. Why? Because there are there are so many number of sellers. It's not like what we could say like a monopoly. Here it's not one single seller. Next, homogeneous product, as we have discussed, yes, the product it appears to be the same. Let it be in a shape, in a color, in taste. Next, freedom of entry and exit. So whenever a buyer, whenever a seller he likes to enter, he likes to sell the product, yes, he can enter. And if he wants to move out of the market, yes, he can very well move out of the market. And the perfect knowledge among buyers and sellers, yes, before buying the product, the buyers will definitely have a complete knowledge about what are they going to buy, how much are they going to buy, and what is going to be the price. Next, perfect mobility, and there is going to be no transportation cost, and there is no absence of selling cost. Now we'll go to the next one. So what is it? It is industry price maker and firm is a price taker. So what does it mean? So first we'll start discussing about. So in x-axis we are having demand and supply. How much units is being demanded by the consumer and how much it is going to be supplied by the supplier side. And in the y-axis it is price. Now this DD, it is a downward sloping curve. Why it's a downward sloping? Because it is a demand curve. So what does it mean? When the price increase, what will happen to the demand? It will start decreasing. When the price is less, yes, you could see the demand is more. When the price increases, the demand is less. So it is a downward sloping curve. This is as per law of demand. What is it? So when price increases, the quantity demanded starts to decrease. And the upward sloping curve is yes. Why it is upward sloping? When price increases, suppliers are ready to supply more in the market. So we could have seen in the previous year when the prices of onion or tomatoes shoot up. Why it is? Because the supply could be less because of summer season. So automatically what happens? The price will start increasing because since we start using onions and tomatoes in our day-to-day cooking, we can't cut short or too much of quantity. So automatically the price will start increasing. And sometimes we could also see suppliers hoarding the products. Why? They want to find the best price. If at all if they sell at a higher price, yes, they can earn more profit out of it, right? So this is a DD, this is a downward sloping curve, and SS is upward sloping curve. So when this two, demand and supply, this interacts at this particular point, this we call it as equilibrium point. So what is equilibrium point? At equilibrium point, the quantity demanded is equal to quantity supply. So this corresponding price, the corresponding price, we call it as this price, right? This price we call it as equilibrium price, and this quantity OQ, we call that as equilibrium quantity. This is equilibrium quantity, and OP is equilibrium price. Now, why the industry is called as a price maker is always in a perfect competition. Who will decide the price? It's only the industry. So based on the demand and supply of products at that particular day, what the industry will do? They will start fixing the price. For example, you could see the price of flowers, okay, during any functions or during any festivals like Diwali and Christmas, okay, Ganesh Chaturthi. We could see that the demand for flowers is more, and even during Onam festivals, right? Why? Because it is our tradition to celebrate our festivals and function usually with flowers. So what will happen to the price of flowers on that particular single day? Yes, it's going to be more. And you could see, after 2 days of Diwali or the next day of Diwali, the price of flowers will start to dip. Why? What's the reason? Yes, again, the demand for flowers is going to be less. So it is based on the demand and supply, the industry. It will be the flower industry, fruit industry, vegetable industry. The industry here is going to fix the price, and the firm. Who's going to be the firm? Whomever is going to sell those fruits, vegetables or flowers in the market, they will take the price what is going to be quoted by the industry on that particular day, right? So it is going to be uniform. So why price is uniform here? It's not going to fluctuate. So even if you buy 10 fruits or 20 fruits, so for each and every fruit, the price is going to be the same, right? That is why we could see the price line to be a straight line. Okay, so why it is straight line? Because in a perfect competition, always the price is going to be determined by only the industry and the firm. So how many quantities they are going to sell, the price will remain the same, right? And next, we are going to discuss on the short run equilibrium, right? So what do you mean by short run equilibrium? Short duration. So in a short duration, what is going to be whether perfect competition, whether it's going to be super normal, or the seller is going to earn normal profit, or when will they incur loss, right? So first we will discuss here super normal. So what does it mean super normal, right? They could be the pioneer in the market. So first when they enter the market, the cost of production is less for them, and the revenue, whatever that they are going to earn, is going to be more. Why the revenue is going to be more? Because they are the pioneer, they have entered the market, right? They don't have any competitors. So we could see that there are more number of sellers. They start buying a particular product from the particular seller, right? So here this is your average cost. Average cost is lesser than the average revenue, right? And whenever this is the condition for supernormal. So when your average revenue is more than average cost, what does it mean? The profit that a seller is going to incur from it is going to be more. So when the competitors, when they start watching it, how could one single seller is earning more out of a product? We could see that slowly, okay? The competitors start building up, right? So when there are so much of competitor, what does it mean? The average revenue will start to dip. Why? People might opt to some other seller, right? So this is the first condition, supernormal. So in supernormal, when average revenue is more than average cost, okay, we say this situation as a supernormal profit. Next, normal profit. So in normal profit, we could see that, yes, what is the condition? When the average cost is equal to average revenue. So you could see that at this particular curve, this is the average cost and this is the average revenue. Okay, so both are equal. When both are equal, we call this situation as normal profit. So always in a perfect competition, no seller, can go for a super normal profit. They can enjoy a normal profit. So if at all if they incur loss, what is that they can do? Yes, we have always discussed, we have already discussed this feature, freedom of entry and exit. So if he incurs loss, what can happen? A producer can decide to leave the market. So in a supernormal profit, whenever there is a supernormal profit, what the competitors will start to do, they will start entering the market. And in the normal profit, we could see that yes, there is a balance between the number of buyers and sellers. Now here, the buyers, they are having a different opportunity. They have the opportunity not to depend solely on one seller. They have so much of sellers. So what will happen now? The seller, they can't sell at a higher price. They have to sell the product only at a nominal price. What is that's going to be similar to that of a competitor. So here they can enjoy only a normal profit. And when coming for a loss, now we could see that in for a particular industry there are too many sellers, right? So what will happen when they start selling their product at a reduced price? What will happen? Obviously, they will have a shortage in their revenue. So in this third situation, we could see that the average cost, okay, it is more than the average revenue. So whenever the cost, if it is more than revenue, what will happen? So that situation, we call that as a loss. Why? Seller, he can't earn more profit. He is producing the product at a higher price and he could earn only very less. So here his profit margin is we can't say even profit margin, he starts incurring a loss. So whenever he starts incurring a loss, what can happen? He will start to leave the industry. Okay, so always in a perfect competition, it starts from a supernormal. So in supernormal, we could see that when your average revenue is more than average cost, the number of sellers are going to be more. So the next, they come to normal profit. And again, some more number of competitors come. What will happen? This is the third situation where your average cost is more than average revenue. And a few sellers, they start to leave the industry. And again, what can happen? They come to normal profit. So they can shuttle anywhere from super normal, it can come to normal profit. And if the same situation is going to continue, normal profit to a loss. So here it is going to be entry of more sellers, right? And whenever it is going to be loss, what can happen? Few sellers will exit. So this is the place where a seller will exit. So if sellers exit, what will happen? Again, they will come to this position, that is normal profit. So in a normal profit, always we have in a perfect competition, mostly it's going to be normal profit. No seller can enjoy super normal profit. So in the long run, that is what that we are discussing, right? So in the long run, what will happen? So this is right. So what is it? Your long run average cost is equal to the average revenue, and this is the equilibrium point. So we are taking the output in y-axis, price and cost in y-axis, and output in x-axis, right? So this is average revenue and this is the long run average cost. So where the point where the average cost, long run average cost and the average revenue meets, that particular point we call that as equilibrium point, right? So this is about perfect competition. Okay, so now we'll have a recap on perfect competition. So what's a perfect competition? So this refers to a market situation where there are a very large number of buyers and sellers and they deal with homogeneous product, and always the price is going to be fixed here by the market. So the features, let's have a recap. So there are very large number of buyers and sellers. So what does it mean? When there is going to be very large number of buyers and seller, so each seller share is going to be very less, right? Similarly, even to a buyer. So how much that we buy? our day-to-day quantity, it's going to be a very small when you take the overall buyers in the market, right? So here, so that is why we call this as the buyer's contribution and seller's contribution is very less. Okay, so no one can influence the market price. So if there's going to be a single buyer, yes, he can bargain well. If there is going to be a single seller or few sellers, yes, they can decide the price. But here it is not the case, right? So there are a very large number of buyers and sellers, so no one can influence anyone. So the next is homogeneous product, right? So in a homogeneous product, it's going to be identical, right? Whatever the product that is sold in the market, it is identical. Identical, we say that it is going to be similar in size, shape, quality, color, right? So since it is going to be an identical, so people, whomever are willing to pay, they will like to pay only the same price. So if a seller is going to sell at an exorbitant rate, so what will happen? People will start boycotting that particular seller and they may opt for the next one. Freedom of entry and exit. So that there is no artificial or natural barrier for any firms to enter and exit. So if at all, if anyone sees there is going to be an abnormal profit, yes, we could see that there are more number of sellers start entering the market, and when they see abnormal loss, no one likes to enjoy loss. So what might happen? The sellers might start exiting from the market. And the perfect knowledge among buyers and sellers. So what does it mean? No firm, they are in a position to charge a different price. And if at all, if they charge higher price, what will happen? Buyer will start moving from that particular seller to another seller. So here they have to sell at uniform price. And perfect mobility, so the 4 factors of production, namely the land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship, everything are mobile. So here there is not going to be no geographical restriction, there is not going to be any occupational restriction here. Absence of transportation costs. So prices here, it's going to be uniform in the market and there is no transportation cost. So producer, he can sell his product at any place and buyers can buy it from any place. Next, absence of selling cost. And here in a perfect competition, we could see that all the products are homogeneous. It is in nature, homogeneous in nature, and everyone have a perfect knowledge among the buyers and sellers, and there is no advertisement cost here, right? So it is called as, so there is going to be no transportation and there is not going to be any selling cost here. So next, what we have discussed, we have discussed about this point, right? This totally we call this as industry. So this is going to be industry, and this graph is going to be for firms. Okay. So here we call this as industry as a price maker and the firm as a price taker. So every day, okay, so based on the demand, based on the supply, who is going to fix the price? Industry will fix the price. And this is a downward sloping demand curve, this is upward sloping supply curve. The point where they intersect, that particular point we call that as equilibrium point. And this is the equilibrium price. So only at this particular price, the firms are going to sell their product in the market. Maybe there can be a slight fluctuation in prices, but there should not be too much of a fluctuation in price. Why? Because always a buyer, he has a perfect knowledge about the price. So if any firm, you could also see in the market, there are so many shops. So if one shop is going to sell the products at a higher price, we could find one or two buyers only in that particular shop. On the other hand, if a shop is going to sell the product at a nominal price, you could see there are so much buyers and sellers in the market, right? That is a perfect example here also. So based on the equilibrium price, so this is the equilibrium price, let us say 100 rupees that is quoted, on that particular day by the industry, then what will happen? All the firms who are going to sell that particular product, they will sell only at 100 rupees. The next day, let's assume now it's going to be a festive day. Next, the industry can fix the price as 200. So what might happen? All the firms will start selling the product at rupees 200. So here always the price is going to be fixed only by the industry, and the firms, as we have suggested, it is a price taker. They will take the same price as what is fixed by the industry and start selling their product. So this is a short run. So what is a short run? In a short run, in the factors of production, right? There are land, labor, capital, and enterprise. So you can't change the land, we can't change the capital also. Raw materials, yes, that could be changed to a certain extent, and the number of labors can also vary. So that is what we call it as a short run, a short duration of a period. Okay. So here in x-axis, we have taken output, how much units are going to be sold in the market, and in y-axis it is price. So the same, AR is equal to MR. Yes, why here AR is equal to MR? Why is it? Okay. So now let us assume that a seller is selling 1 rose for 10 rupees. So next product also he is going to sell at the same 10 rupees. So by selling one additional rose, how much he is going to earn? 10 rupees. What is marginal revenue? The third rose and the fourth rose. From the fourth rose to the fifth rose. So how much by selling one extra additional rose, how much is that he is going to earn? The same 10 rupees. That is why we say here as your average revenue is equal to marginal revenue. But if you see the non-perfect markets like oligopoly, monopoly, monopolistic competition, the average revenue and marginal revenue will also slope down, and they both are not the same. Okay, only in perfect competition we can find that your average revenue is equal to marginal revenue. And this is the average cost. That's nothing but how much it incurs for producer to produce one good. Okay, on an average is taking. So this is the average cost, and this is the average revenue. So from the diagram itself, yes, we could see that which is more, revenue is more. So when the revenue is more, what is that situation that we call it as? It is a supernormal condition. So in a supernormal condition, what will happen? It is giving more possibilities for more number of sellers to enter the market. Why? Yes, at the end of the day, for all the sellers, what is going to be their objective? They have to earn more profits, right? So whenever they find an opportunity, if one seller is earning more profit, it gives room to more number of sellers to enter. So now just imagine the situation, right? So here now there is a more number of sellers are entered. So can he fix the price? No, right? So he can't, enjoy the profit, whatever that he has earned here. Why he is earning? Why he is having more supernormal profit here is he could be the few. There are no only few number of sellers, buyers or more. So what will happen? Yes, the sellers they can fix the price. But when coming here, there are sellers are also more and buyers are also more, right? So buyer, they are having more opportunity to get the product from some other seller. So he can't continue to enjoy the average more profit. So this is the situation where your average cost is equal to average revenue. And we are coming to the third one, that is loss. So what happened? When we find there are more number of sellers into a particular industry, so each one will compete with each other to give it a best price, so where they can attract more buyers. So when they start doing it, what will happen? Their average cost is more, and the revenue whatever that they are going to earn from it is going to be very, very less. So how many days can a seller sustain in particular situation? So slowly they will start leaving from producing the particular product. So we could see that from less number of sellers, it is giving room to more number of sellers. And again, what will happen? When the number of sellers start exiting, it comes to a normal one. So this we call it as a short run equilibrium. So this short run equilibrium over a period, okay. So this we call it as a long run equilibrium. So the duration is going to be more. So always in a long run, a perfect competition will run only a normal profit. Here, no one is going to enjoy supernormal, and there is also going to be no loss. If there is loss, what will happen? A seller can exit from the market, and if there is going to be supernormal, what will happen? More number of sellers will start entering in. So in a long run, it is always going to be a normal profit. So in today's class, I hope yes, we have discussed about perfect competition. So if you have any questions, yes, you can post it. Thank you.